Yeah. And I always wanted to go, and I was like the outdoorsy one. And I was like riding horses bareback and standing on them while they ran around the yard and doing all the like insane stuff, jumping out of trees onto their backs. But I just wasn't taking hunting. And when you're a kid, you can't control that. You can do your best. And I had a longbow. I did have a longbow when I was a kid, so I would go out and try to shoot at stuff, but I was just figuring it out on my own. I didn't really have, I didn't know what I was doing. I think hunting's great now. Avid hunter, love hunting. I just got an invitation. I don't know if I'm just going to talk about it anyways. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I just got an invitation to go to South Africa, so we'll see. I don't know. Sweet. I still have to plan that one, but yeah, it's very much love hunting.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. I'm Jonathan, your host, and here at RedBeard Outdoors, we talk about faith, family, fitness, and the outdoors so that we can provide you the basically steps that I take to enjoy those four aspects of my life to the fullest, how they mesh together. And days like today being Saturday, we get to have a full-length conversation with Francesca from Teton Leather. Guys, she makes an amazing product. Everything from belts to sheaths for knives to even swords, wallets, etc. You definitely want to check her out. She does amazing work on top of course, collaborating with Montana Knife Company to make certain sheaths for their knives. And I'm telling you guys, the patina it gets on it, it's out of this world how awesome the quality is that she makes. So go check her out. The links are going to be down below. Also, guys, before we get into the episode, I want to invite you over to the First Phorm Outdoors Facebook page. Let them know that RedBeard sent you. You definitely want to get into that group. Find people that are like-minded like yourself that enjoy hunting, fishing, biking, camping, backpacking, whatever it may be in the outdoors. We want you to experience more of that. So come join us, whatever fitness level you're at, whatever it is. If you enjoy the outdoors or want to learn a new skill in the outdoors, come and join us over the First Phorm Outdoors Facebook group. With that being said, guys, let's get into this episode with Francesca and Teton Leather. All right, guys, welcome back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. I'm Jonathan, your host. I've got an amazing guest for you guys today. We've got Francesca, who started Teton Leather. She does, obviously, behind her, she's got some of her work there behind her, but also you guys have seen this sheath right here. It's got a good patina on it because I sweat and I'm hot a lot, so it's gotten a lot darker than it was when I first got it, but absolutely love this thing. And the work that she does is outstanding. You guys probably seen her work on social media. Montana Knife Company, through a lot of things that I post her sheaths that she puts out there. And we're going to go over all of that and what else she produces as well. But I kind of want to get into your story here, Francesca. So for people that don't know who you are, who are you?
I'm Francesca Ritchie. I'm 29 and I own Teton Leather Company. Well, Teton Leather. So I started this all as a bladesmith, and I was making custom knives, forging from a bar of steel and a block of wood to a functional knife that you could use. So I started my path there, and a few years in, I had a client that was buying most of my knives, and he was like, "Hey, I think you should make a leather sheath," which I hadn't done. I had done pretty basic work, just a little pouch sheath. It wasn't anything to write home about, like nothing impressive at all. And I didn't really want to do leather work, but when your client that buys everything tells you that you should, you kind of have to. So I made this sheath for him for this knife he had sent me, and the knife was probably around a $4,000 to $5,000 bowie. It was custom Damascus, super fancy, and
wow,
yeah. And I was like, I am super in over my head here. So I built a sheath for it, and I screwed it up a bunch of times. So I was like, this is not going well. I hate it. I don't want to do this. I'm losing money. And I had made it with beaver tail at the top, and then I had done hand tooling along the bottom, and I had done multiple patterns in the hand tooling, and then a braided rawhide and lace kind of function on the front with it was super cool.
That's very intricate.
Yes, it was. And finally, by the time I had finished it, I put it down in front of me, and it was just like this light bulb had gone off. Like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to look back. Because what was in my head was in front of me, tangibly, right there, physically, and it was just amazing. So since then, I told my husband, I was like, all right, well, I'm doing leather work. Like, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to be making things out of leather. Like, it makes me sound like a crazy person, and I might be, honestly, but I started having dreams about leather, which is so weird. And I know that's weird, but it happens and it's not going away. So I would dream about like designs and colors and stuff that I wanted to make, or I'd have a challenge of something I couldn't figure out, and I would be in a bad mood for like days. And then I would go to sleep, and I don't know what it would be, but like finally I'd go to sleep and I'd have a dream about the design, and it would click. It would be just what I needed. And I'd wake up and I had a little notepad and I'd write it down. So that was kind of the start. Very passionate about what I do, like beyond, and it's just grown from there. So
I love it. That's awesome. And I don't think that's crazy at all. I think there's lots of people that have varying talents and skills, and people may have those dreams and actually be scared of, stuff like that, and not be willing to jump into it. So it's cool that you had a supportive spouse as well. I know there's a lot of men out there that start businesses that, talk about their supportive wives, but vice versa.
yeah.
It can take almost I don't know what your husband does, to be honest with you, but as a man, having your wife do something successful can go one of two ways. Either the man can be really prideful and kind of almost sabotage things, or the other way where he's super stoked and proud of his wife and really supportive. So that's awesome that you have that support to pursue that passion and to go after your goals with leather. I think that's really cool, because I definitely can't see stuff like, I'm not an artistic guy. I love sharing products that other people have created, but I'm definitely not a creator. That is not something that I am good at.
I
um,
always say if the
yeah,
world were full of artists only, it would be a disaster. It would burn down. Like, give it like 4 days, the world would absolutely fall apart.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it works. No, I've
Well,
been
and I,
fortunate. Zach, he was an electrician, and he was like, "This is so cool." Yes, I, he definitely pushed me forward. So mad props to him because I needed that.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And I know, it's not very common for women to push forward in the entrepreneurial side of things, because most of the time, at least the women in my life that I've had experience with and know that they've had these dreams or visions, it's hard for them to pursue them because they have other responsibilities that they feel just that they need to take on, such as the mother role, or the
Mhm.
caregiver, or uh, you know not wanting to stick their head above the crowd, whatever it is, that naturally anxiety that unfortunately women are more prone to than men, or we just ignore it. I don't know, but
Both.
but yeah, exactly. But it's cool to see that you've not only you had someone that you're doing custom one-offs for, uh, believe in you, and your people that originally were purchasing from you, but now you've partnered up with some great companies and had some awesome success. Again, like this sheath right here, I carry it. I never thought I'd carry a fixed blade in my life, really. I was a folder through and through, and I know there's one coming from Montana Knife Company, but I still don't know if that will replace this little mini speed goat, because this sheath is just so, it's weird, because it's like it's classy and functional at the same time.
Mhm.
And I'm not a big leather guy. Like, I don't have a leather wallet. I don't wear a lot of leather stuff. But this one caught my eye, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up very well, but you can
Yeah, there
see
we
that,
go.
like, the sheen on it and just how dark it's gotten, because they don't come this dark. And I
No.
actually really like it comes more of like one of those lighter colors right there, one of those layers. But
Do you want me to nerd
absolutely
out and
love
tell
how
you why?
this. Do I? Yeah, let's
I
go
said,
for
do
it.
you?
Nerd out. Tell
Yeah,
me
all
why.
right. So, oof, all excited about leather. So,
Is it all the ginger that's rubbed off and created it?
yeah, it's that sweat you were talking about.
I actually sleep with it like this. You guys just don't know that. Like,
Too far. No, so all of the leather sheaths that we make for Montana Knife Company, like you said, like it's functional and classy, and that
hmm
was, I think that's what you said.
yep.
Close enough. Um, that was my main priority. When Josh first came to me, I was like not quite ready to really tackle what he was bringing to me, but when there's a will, there's a way.
Seems to be a
And
common theme with MKC. They're not quite ready to tackle what's being thrown their way, but they do it
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Josh and I met, and I was like, huh, something about this guy. And I think he had the same thought. So
Mm.
it's been good. But that's kind of my approach to everything I design. I have seen tons of leather stuff that is beautiful, stunning. Like you can see things made out of leather that are just like,
Oh
wow.
yeah.
Every little corner looks perfect. And then you go to use it and it's trash. Or you use it and it's really nice for 6 months and then it's trash.
Mm.
And it drives me crazy. It absolutely drives me crazy because if you can create something beautiful, then you have the mind, if you apply yourself, to create something functional as well. The two can go hand in hand. They have to. They should. So, for instance, on the MKC Speedgoat, the Mini, um, Josh had said he wanted it to be something that was really comfortable to carry every day. And I was like, oh, I got you. No worries. And that has been, I carry one too every single day. And that patina that you said, like getting
Mm.
darker on the front, the difference between the leather that we use and the leather that, if you go to the store and you buy something that's leather,
Mm.
it's probably bonded, or it's some form of, essentially what happens a lot of times is a tannery, they will shave off the top surface of the leather because of imperfections, right? Cows are animals. They have ticks, parasites, scars, cattle brands, all that stuff. So they shave off the surface of the leather and then they come and they apply a synthetic to the top. So it's essentially plastic with a leather base and they're
Mm.
chrome tanned. And that process, chrome tanning, it makes leather goods really, really soft and really nice looking. They don't have that break in period. However, when chrome tanning falls apart, it falls apart like that. It's instantly just like done. Its life goes. Whereas what we make our goods out of is vegetable tanned. So the sheaths that we make for Montana Knife Company is a full vegetable tanned cowhide, and it's called full grain, which not a lot of people are familiar with the term full grain, but essentially that means that is that cow's full grain structure all the way to the top of their hide or their skin,
Mm.
and nothing has been sanded and reapplied, nothing has been altered. So our hides, we can actually split them down and you can see the grain structure. And there are parts of the hides we don't use because I illustrate it to my employees that grain structures like this, and parts of the
Mm-hmm.
hides like the elbows, shoulders, up around the neck are a little further apart. So all the sheaths that we use, we make sure the grain structure is really tight. And when you're using a chrome tan, you can't do that. So we spend a lot more on our leather for sure. I mean, at least double per square foot. And in my opinion, it's worth it and it makes a difference. And that darkening is the natural oils that have been tanned into the hide are coming to the surface and they're creating kind of like a protective barrier as you use it.
Hmm. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell I use mine. It's not beat up, but it's I don't know. I really like that dark color because when I first got it, I was like, it's pretty, but it's not quite the color brown that I was wanting it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've carried it. I can't remember when I bought it. Last time they did it was probably November or something. But I've
Yeah.
carried it just about every single day since then, except when I'm flying, and even then it's usually in my carry or my check bag. And because I don't want to end up donating it to the TSA. But
I feel that.
um, yeah, exactly. But no, this thing, I mean, it's turned out, and then even the edges here, because they come a little bit more. Let me see if I can. So they come a little bit more like what the internal looks like in there for people that, I mean, it won't focus on my face, but where it's a
Yeah.
little bit more
Yeah.
rough is what
Mm-hmm.
it looks like here from where you guys have cut it. But now it's like super smooth.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, it's just awesome. You did a great job with this. And then of course
Thank you.
that deep carry, clip right here, it still sticks out of the pocket just a little bit for people that are, wondering about that. I've shown that, but it's still not much compared to a folder. I mean, it's only that much.
Yeah.
And again, to me, it's 100% worth it for the sheath. So I know you make
Well, thank
sheaths
you.
for other knives that they've got, and obviously other companies as well. You've got some amazing works of art, and then you have the functional, classy like this. So What's the hide that you use for is the black one? It looks like alligator skin for it was the Lost Batch.
Oh yeah, so that was
So
Nile crocodile.
Nile crocodile.
Yep.
Okay. Speaking of that, I don't know why I had a weird dream about crocodiles last night, and I don't ever dream about crocodiles, but I had a really weird dream about saltwater crocodiles. It was very specific to saltwater crocodiles last night. But anyway, the that crocodile, why'd you choose that? Like, I guess walk us through, why do you choose like cow on this and then crocodile on the Lost Batch, and then there's been a couple other ones since then that you've made with crocodile skin. Why do you choose the leather that you work with specifically, um, for
You know, for
different things?
for the Lost Batch, Josh had called me, and I had known that this was going to happen for a while. He likes to just
Mm.
drop a one-liner like,
Oh,
"Oh, someday we might do this or that, whatever." And then he calls me. He's like, "I need them tomorrow." Very Josh fashion. Um,
he's like, but I told you about it. Like,
yeah, Josh, it
but
works out. It's
like
fine.
I told you months ago that this was gonna happen. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. So I had known that at some point or another he was going to want to do, I will
Mhm.
say, a batch with exotic sheets. So I
Right.
wasn't too surprised when he brought that to me. And I always kind of keep alligator, American alligator, and Nile crocodile in the back of my mind as really good go-tos, as well
Mhm.
as stingray. Stingray is like another major go-to for us.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stingray is, I would say, as far as like wallets are concerned, our best seller. So, but anyways, so
So
for the sheaths, oh,
so
go ahead.
I might have to, we might have to do something with that because I loved, what's his, oh man, Steve Irwin. He was
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite guy growing up. Like, and the fact I might have to get like a wallet that says "Rip Steve Irwin" or "This one's for Steve" or something like that. But anyway,
Dude, you know what's great? So I write a newsletter called the Creature Feature, and
Mhm,
I did the feature on Stingray, and the
mhm.
the subheading for it was like, they killed Steve Irwin, and now we're taking revenge.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a wallet that says "This one's for Steve" and
Mm-hmm.
then have the
Yeah,
RedBeard logo just underneath it. Oh
I
man, he
got
was
you.
my dude growing up. Like that, I watched Animal Planet like crazy growing up. Anyway, so sorry you
Anyway,
sent me down that with the stingray thing, but anyway, so
no, you're
that's
good.
cool. So stingray, Nile, crocodile, and alligator.
Yeah, those are some big go-tos, and the reason being that all of them are very easily accessible.
Mhm,
And I know that, for instance, with Montana Knife Company, they have a very large customer base. So if
mhm,
I'm going to do a run for them, I have to know, this is a real concern. This is something I think about. I have to know whatever exotic species I choose, I'm not going to make an impact on the species in a negative way.
mhm, mhm.
So with Nile crocodile, American alligator, stingray, and there are some others as well that I could easily, it's not even a concern. But those ones I know for a fact, no matter what, like I can run them in large quantities and really, really high quality still, and I won't affect the species in any negative way. Like we could run them for the rest of time and it would be
Wait,
contributing toward those.
you care about animals even though you're a leather
I know,
company?
I know. Oh man.
What? I can't believe that.
I'm just such a dark, evil wench.
I
You
know,
would
right?
think.
My
I
goodness.
know.
I mean, you got all these dead animals hung up behind you and like you care about
That's true.
animals? Really? That's
That's true. Those are pretty great, though. I
it's
mean,
so hard for people
those
to understand
animals.
that.
Well, and that's funny to me because I've had so many people write in on our website and say, like, I can't believe you use whatever species they've decided to choose.
Yeah, because it's cute and
And I'm
cuddly.
like, yeah, or it's not, but it's an animal and they want to be upset about something because they're bored. And I explain to them how our leather goods actually tangibly contribute back to that species. And I would say 8 to 9 times out of 10, they end up buying a wallet.
Wow.
Conservation is really important, and it's actually a huge
Yeah.
part of our business, and people don't even realize it.
I think that's really cool that you handle it that way, and that speaks volumes to who you are. Because like I make these little funny comments, right? But in all reality, when someone comes at you, uh, as a hater, whatever you want to call them, label them, and they're attacking you basically, it's cool that you turn around and you have an educated response for them instead of just lashing back out and saying, well, you're stupid, or some little quippy thing that you could, like, you genuinely have a conversation with them, and you're not necessarily even looking to convert them or make a sale. You
Mm-mm.
just genuinely want to share, like, you care about the animal, like what you're
Yep.
saying right now about these special batches or exotic sheets. You don't want to make an impact on a negative impact on the species, and you know, you've done your research and you know which species that will be good for, and
Yeah.
you can still get the exotic look but not be detrimental to, you know, whatever species it is. And that's really cool. I think that's awesome.
No, thank you. To me, it's really important because, like you said, it's easy to just tell somebody like, "Oh, you're an idiot. Do your research." Well, it's actually not their job to do that research
Mm-hmm.
because I chose this as my profession, so I should be educated in things that are going to come up, and conservation is huge. So, like
Mm-hmm.
the American alligators, like that flagship of conservation, they were down to, I want to say, roughly 500 American alligators, and
Really?
oh, yeah. And leather, the use of exotic leathers has actually been the key factor in them going from 500 wild American alligators to in the millions now. So every time I buy, like, American
I was gonna
alligators, so
say,
expensive.
last time I went down to Florida, I could probably have
Yeah.
counted 500 around our boat. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and that is because of the exotic leather industry. It really is. American Tanning and Leather LLC, they're a business in Georgia. They're incredible. Christy Plott is the owner, and she so educated in conservation and has led such a front for the American alligator and other species as well. Because when you have a trailblazer species like that that has shown just what fashion and leather working and all that can do for a species, you're putting value behind them.
Mm-hmm.
When you have that as the trailblazer, if anything happens to the use of American alligator in, luxury leather, that's going to trickle down to all the other species that have been benefited by their leather. And like, a lot of people don't realize, they get upset. Very controversial. Elephant. If you look at the statistics, every country where elephant hunting is legal and there's a protocol for it, you pay for tags and they're very expensive. Those countries have the best numbers of elephants because they can afford to actually protect them, and they can give back to the communities that are affected by those animals. And I think a lot of people, they don't realize that animals are not, unless it's like your domesticated tiny little dog, or a house cat, they're not easy to coexist with, cohabitate. I mean, they're rough. Elephants are not easy to live with. Alligators aren't pleasant to live with. So there has to be incentive for people to keep them around.
Yeah. Yeah, if alligators are anything like my dream last night, they're evil. But no, no, but that's a very interesting. I didn't even realize. Like, I know obviously leather's a thing for, you know, people that are pro animal, which it's not even really the term. I guess PETA. What is the term for people that get really upset about any kind of animal death? Because like I'm pro animal, I'm pro life for animals, but at the same time, like, you know, there's conservation that needs to happen. So it's hard to, I don't know. People get offended by stuff, you know, when animals are killed in general. And
Yeah,
it's
they do.
cool that you have taken the time to go down that path and find that research and be educated rather than go the other route of the angry business owner that's like, yeah, you're wasting my time. Go find your own crap out. You're not going to buy it from me anyway. And and that's again speaks volumes to who you are as a human being and a person in general. And I don't, have you always been into conservation and hunting and things like that? Okay. So
Nope, not at all.
and that I wanted to ask, I didn't want to make a judgment call, but you come off as someone that maybe might have converted at one point to that
I've
lifestyle. So walk me through that.
uh, all right. So I grew up. I don't want to say like farm life because we
Yeah.
didn't have a farm, but I grew up with horses. Chickens, goats, all the things, and very familiar with animals. I bred Jack Russell Terriers from the time that I was 12 until 25,
That takes a
26.
special person.
Oh man, whew, let me tell
Those
you
are,
what, I learned some lessons.
yeah, I bet.
But I was fortunate enough though to have that experience, because it taught me that even though they are the most annoying breed on the planet and I love them, but whew, those little annoying creatures that peed on what I owned and chewed things up because I, made them mad, they were still, it was a little life and it was precious. And it was my job. My mom set it up so that I could sell them and then take the funds to do with what I wanted. But I was responsible for the business from top to bottom. And that also meant I was responsible for the health of the puppies. And it gave me
Yeah.
a real appreciation for, like, that's a little life. It might be just a puppy. It might be like this big when it's born, but that's a life. And so I didn't grow up hunting. My family had hunted, but I had never gone. I did grow up shooting guns and, all that, very familiar. But as I got older and getting into the leatherworking stuff, I had a client that was a safari guide, and he's still a great client of mine. And he had wanted some stuff, and we kind of got talking. I love learning people's stories, like my favorite thing. I love people. Give me all the people. So I had started asking him questions, and he would send me pictures of, oh, today we rounded up a bunch of poachers out in the safari. And it was super eye-opening. And I was already okay with using most hides, but I couldn't justify why I was okay with it. I kind of just like didn't think about it. And I remember one post in particular. I don't think he posted this one. There was a photo he had sent me of all these poachers lined up on the ground, and they had their hands bound, and they had these razor wire coils that they had set out for whatever animal would run into them. Any animal, it didn't matter, because these guys are hungry. They're
Yeah.
hungry. They're trying to feed their families. These aren't criminals. They are hungry, starving humans. And they're sitting there barefoot, covered in cuts and scrapes, and they just, like, these guys are not doing well. And all these animals, there were dozens that had been caught in these tripwires, that, not even tripwires, but the razor wire,
Yeah.
that now they were inedible. They'd been sitting there for who knows how long, or they were still alive suffering. And that really changed my perspective. I just realized, like, wow, this community doesn't have the resources to feed themselves. So they're targeting wildlife. And he kind of explained to me how much it impacts those communities when he and his clients go in and they say, hey, we just hunted all this wild game. Take it. Take the meat. Have this. Oh, by the way, if you know someone's poaching, tell us. Don't poach. Come to us for meat. Don't go do that. Protect those animals. And they're incentivizing people they don't have a Walmart. They don't have a Kroger. They can't go down the street
Wait,
and just buy
hold on.
food.
You're telling me that meat doesn't just come from the back of Walmart,
It doesn't.
like the freezer? You,
Nope.
an animal actually has to die for that? What?
Yep. I know. What a world. It's
And
wild.
there's not Walmarts everywhere? Like, that's crazy. It
But that's the funny part. People they actually think that way. They don't have perspective that their little bubble is not the whole world.
Guys, brief interruption here. I apologize for that, but want to give a shout out to the partners of the show. Guys, anyone that I've mentioned that is a partner, that is gear that maybe I've used, that I've reviewed, that I've given you first impressions on, etc., make sure you go down below and check out the links. It gets you a discount on gear that you're already going to be purchasing. You're also supporting me here at the channel so we can continue to grow, bring you those gear reviews, bring you people to the show, and you're getting a discount, and you're supporting the companies that I believe in, the people that I trust, and the gear that I use and I trust as well. Some of those being, of course, Grizzly, like my favorite water bottle right here, Grizzly Coolers. They make amazing products. They're going to make sure your meat makes it home nice and cold and not spoiled while you're out there in the mountains hunting this fall. They're going to provide you with hydration, different various bottles that they have, backpack coolers, things like that. Definitely go check them out. I do have a discount code for you now down below. Go and use that today. Also, guys, BlackOvis has some amazing sales going on consistently between BlackOvis and Camel Fire. Check out the link down below, as well as you're getting those last minute purchases, getting ready for season. You should know by now, normally most states anyway, let you know what hunts you're going to be going on by now. So with that, go and check out the gear that you're going to need this upcoming season. You can save some money, and that actually stacks on top of any discounts that they've got on the website. And you can get free shipping as well. All of that, guys, go save some money, get your gear, and have a fantastic rest of your day as you listen to this episode, and enjoy your weekend. Let's get back into this one with Francesca and Teton Leather. Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing too, like you say that people think that way. I don't even think that they don't go down that path of that thought process. They just, that's when they were raised, they went to McDonald's, they went to Walmart, they came home, or they'd come home to a fridge full of groceries, pantry full of food. Or if they didn't, then they knew where to, like, maybe if they were less fortunate, they would go to a Bishop's Storehouse or, but there was always food, and they never had to see the back end process of it.
Yeah.
Until, something like this conversation happened, and they're like, wait a second. And there's something that Joel Turner talks about. I don't know how much you shoot archery, or if you know about his. So he teaches SWAT teams and also archers how to shoot better and control that shot process. But he says something that some people take some moment to wrap their heads around. But thinking, or thoughts, are not thinking. Thoughts are things that pass into your head just passively. Thinking is when you activate something and you're like, actually, hold on. Because like the thought of, oh, there's meat at Walmart, until there's not meat there anymore, right? Or it's super expensive. Then you start thinking about it. And you're like, oh, yeah, exactly. So I think that a lot of people don't even think about where meat comes from, or these people suffering in Africa. Again, that's a great perspective that you're sharing. That it's not just that that people don't generally go out one day and say, man, I'm going to be a criminal. I want to do something illegal today. Like, most people don't do that. It's because of some other circumstance. Yes, maybe they made the choices to get them into that circumstance, but then there's other times where they didn't. Like, they were born in this poor community that didn't have resources, and all they knew was there's land out there. There's no sign saying I can't. It's not like a zoo. Right? Nope. There's just animals there, and I know that animal holds meat that will feed my family. I don't have weapons, so here's some barbed wire I can just throw out there and hopefully catch something.
And a lot of them they'll have grains or something that they cultivate, a harvest, but protein that's red gold. Like, that's a big deal. You get some protein. Oh man, now we're talking here. And I think it's so funny. I might catch flack for this, but I don't care. I do it. I take my multivitamins. I have a very specified regimen of herbs and vitamins I take every morning. I make sure I get my right proteins. I do all my stuff, right? Here, we're worried about like macros and getting just the right stuff. These people are literally fighting for their lives. And we're worried about like, oh, I forgot that one, micronutrient that I skipped this morning today. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I was fortunate enough.
And nails, your hair might fall out.
I don't take that. I would look like a stinging Wookiee. You think I'm joking. No, I was fortunate enough, I will say, with my family hunting. I wasn't included in the hunts, even though I wanted to be, whatever. I did have the opportunity to butcher elk and deer and bear and that stuff that was brought back home. That was kind of like the girl's job. So I definitely, like you were talking about, people going to the store.
Teach my girls better then.
Yeah, man, what are you doing?
I'm not going to take them out the glass anymore. They get to clean it when we come back.
Heck yeah. They should be doing both. Okay, both. Yeah. No, but
for every animal they clean, I'll buy them a sheath. How about that?
I can do better than just a sheath. Let's incentivize. That's great. How old are your girls?
So I've got one that's 21, and then I have one that's she's 7. So
you have a 21-year-old?
Yeah, that's do the math. I'm 31. So yeah. Okay.
How long you been
I love that
31?
face. I don't think I've ever actually gotten it on camera, someone's reaction. So we're gonna have to clip that, and I'm gonna use that because that's usually the reaction I get. Yeah, I actually have a
Mhm.
24-year-old as well. I do.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, I always joke. My joke is like, yeah, those freaking babysitters, man. No, but
Oh.
no, but in reality, my wife's a little bit older than me. She looks younger. I look
Uh-huh.
older than my age, so it works out great. But yeah,
Yeah.
and their dad's not in the picture anymore, so they're mine.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? That works, man. It's
Yep.
not often, but can be much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I
So
agree. So
that's
I
cool.
digress. We're going back to women cleaning
Cool.
meat after the hunt. Okay.
Yep, yep. Doing their job as they should.
uh,
Yep.
so you guys would clean the meat after the hunt, and then so you got
Yep.
to butcher, but you never really got to go on the hunt, which is that's
No.
kind of a bummer. But yeah.
It is, yeah. And I always wanted to go, and I was like the outdoorsy one. And I was like riding horses bareback and standing on them while they ran around the yard and doing all the like insane stuff, jumping out of trees onto their backs. But I just wasn't taking hunting. And when you're a kid, you can't control that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can do your best. And I had a longbow. I did have a longbow when I was a kid, so I would go out and try to shoot at stuff. But like I was just figuring it out on my own. I didn't really have, I didn't know what I was doing. So
So you were the original what's her face off of the movie Brave, but you have black hair instead of red hair.
there you go.
Um, what's her Disney name? I
I
can't
don't know.
remember what her name is. There's a Scottish Disney princess that has hair that looks just like yours. It's tangled and everything.
Oh,
She's
perfect.
redhead, and I can't remember what her name was, but she shoots a longbow, does all the crazy outdoor stuff, and anyway,
See,
yeah,
it's meant to be. I don't know her name either.
okay,
I'm not a Disney person, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no, I think hunting's great now. Avid hunter, love hunting. I just got an invitation. I don't know if I'm just gonna talk about it anyways. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I just got an invitation to go to South Africa. So we'll see. I don't know. I
Sweet.
still have to plan that one, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's very much love hunting.
that's awesome. Yeah, I my biggest thing with an African hunt for me, because my wife's asked me a couple of times. She's like, "Well, what's your dream hunt? Do you want to go to Africa or this?" And I'm like, like yes and no, because I want the meat more than anything. I
Yeah.
love Euro mounts and I love the meat. Um,
Hmm.
and not being able to bring that back, like I know it would be beneficial to the community down there, but I'm like, but for me, I'm like, I don't know, like red stag in Spain or something like that is more of a,
Ooh.
a hunt that I would love because I love just Spanish culture and things like that, and so, or Scotland even, going over to Scotland, and that one I can't do with a bow, so that one's a little bit lower on the priority list. But
Uh,
either way, yeah. So South Africa sounds like, I mean, hopefully you're able to get all that planned. Sounds like a blast. And then didn't you recently just go? Was it not the Apache? But there was a Native American reservation that you got invited to go on, wasn't it?
I did, yes. So the Nez Perce tribe invited
Nesper.
me
Okay.
to go with them, which this makes me sound like such a jerk. I didn't realize even fully the significance of that invitation.
Mm-hmm.
And then I told a bunch of people and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so cool." And everybody was like, do you understand how cool that is?" And I was like, "Not
Yeah.
really."
You're
So,
like, yeah, I get to go.
yeah, like I met some cool people. I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
even think about it. And it was really, really cool. And so basically, where was I? I was in Bozeman, Montana,
An
and stopped at
undisclosed
a gas
location.
station.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in Bozeman, Montana last year. I had an event out there for a car brand we were working with, and stopped at a gas station. And I look over and I see in the back of this beat up truck bison just hanging on out the back of this truck. Like, well, those are some weird people. I definitely need to talk to them. So I was Axel. My husband was like, "Whoa, that's so cool," but he's introverted and he's like, "Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't like talk to strangers." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Let me at him." So I
And
walked
you
up
go
and
over and
I
you're
was
like,
like,
hey,
"Hey."
can I have that leather? Okay.
Yeah. I walked up and I was like, "So what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
It's like this hugely super tall guy. And in hindsight, I'm like, okay, yeah, he's a little intimidating, but I was so excited, I didn't even care. So I started asking them what they were doing and how they had got these bison and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're from the Nez Perce tribe. We get to go bison hunting. And they were all into it.
Mhm.
And one of them was the retired chief of police for the area that he lives in.
Mm.
And he's like an elder of, the tribe. Super, super sweet older guy. And he's like, well, you should come hunting with us. I was like, okay, hold up. Don't play with me. If you're playing with me, that's not cool, but you can have my number. Please text me and I absolutely will go with you. And it's the kind of thing that I didn't think he would actually reach out to me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so we texted back and forth. And he's fairly old, but homeboy can text. And we got to talking and he's kept me up to date. They were like, oh, we're going salmon fishing. He'd send me pictures of the salmon they got. Oh, we're out for elk, whatever. So we've talked like once a month since, and it's been over a year now. He reached out to me and just said, hey, um, we're going to be going bison hunting. There's not a lot of snow, but we'd like you to come with us. And
Mm.
it was like, I think it was winter strong. And then I was flying to another event 4 days later, and I had a 2 day window to go hunting.
Mm. Wow.
I forget, I've had a lot of events this year. I got home, slept, played with my kid, drove all the way to Gardner, Montana, met
Mm.
these guys for the hunt, got up super early, went out hunting. We didn't see a single bison, but you know what's crazy? We were out there and I'm asking them all the questions. It was probably annoying. But I'm like, hey, where are all the bison at? And like, what's going on? Like, do you usually see them? So, not enough snow, no bison in sight. And they go, oh, yeah, if there is snow and there's a lot of bison in the valley, Fish and Game will take a helicopter and chase the bison back into the park so we can't hunt them. And I was like, that doesn't happen. Come on. I'm thinking like maybe this has happened one time.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there thinking, and thinking, and I didn't want to be disrespectful, but I was in my head silently being disrespectful. And I look out the window, and we're up on this hill, like really high up, and there's a helicopter eye level with me. And I was like, "What the heck?" Like, "Oh yeah, that's Fish and Game. They're trying to see if there's any bison so they can chase them back into the park, so we can't hunt them." Blew my mind. As I'm thinking that doesn't happen, I look over and there's a
Yeah.
helicopter hitting the whole valley to try and find any bison so they can't hunt them.
Oh man. That's so
Wild.
frustrating.
Wild. But the hunt itself, it was a very cool experience. And there were a lot of other tribes up there at the same time, too. And just getting to learn about their boundaries because each tribe has a different boundary where they can hunt. Each tribe has, different. It's not like a tag system, but each one's very specific. And it was super confusing, honestly. So, but it was really cool. Like a very unique experience for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. That's and bouncing between different events like that. That's it's a lot to squeeze into 2 days.
Yeah,
So,
it was a lot. I was
but
tired.
yeah, yeah, I bet I can imagine. You know, it's kind of a bummer that that happens, and you don't like the good in us wants to believe that stuff like that doesn't happen. And it's not that you were. I don't think you were trying to be disrespectful, but like that's just the. It just seems so outlandish. Like,
Yeah.
why would they waste the resources on that? Of
Hmm.
taking resources away from the tribe. Man, that's a bummer. That really is.
It was
Uh,
shocking.
yeah, and it's stuff like that that I've had some friends that have told me some stories from their family. Not
Hmm.
necessarily the government coming in and doing that, but like someone shooting an elk back in the I don't know 50s or 60s, shooting an elk. By the time they make it over to clean it, someone with a helicopter, rich dude with a helicopter, had flown in over the elk, landed it, strung it up, and taken their elk. And I'm
That's
like, crap
insane.
like that. There's no way. Like that's something out of a Western movie or something like that, right? But then I'm like, no, I could see that happening. Some people get really upset about, so and it just blows my mind that happens. But you got to see it firsthand, and that's a real bummer. That's a real bummer.
It was
Because
a
they
bummer.
would use those resources for what they need.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that was on the hunt, I was like, hey, so I'm okay to just like sit here and not hunt, right? Like I can just be present. He's like, yeah, you're fine. I can't hunt either. I'm like, yeah, but you're like a tribe member. He's like, yeah, but different tribe.
Mm.
And his hunting regulations were, and I'm going to give you my best summary of this because it blew my mind. But basically, his tribe is given access to hunt anything within the something basin, some
Mm-hmm.
massive basin, right? But when you look on a map, historically, there are no maps that clearly define what that basin is.
Mm.
So if you go back, it's basically like the handing down, the storytelling of what that basin is.
Mm.
So he said for him, if he were to hunt in what is considered by his tribe and in general that basin, but you get the wrong fish and game warden, they could arrest him for breaking the law because it's up to their discretion where those lines are.
Mm.
It was crazy. I learned so much. It was very, very interesting. And that's not to say that there's like that they were having it out with fish and game. That's not the case at all.
Right.
We pulled up to probably 5 different wardens that they knew them, but first name basis. They were like, "Hey, it's good to see you," but
Yeah.
it definitely is something that they have to be very educated on what they're allowed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many things that go into that. Like, and it's just like with any other, police officer interaction or anything like that.
Yeah.
You get the wrong cop that just got in a fight with his wife or is
Yeah.
going through a divorce, didn't have breakfast or his coffee, and he pulls you over for speeding and it turns into you in jail because you mouthed off for 1 second. Like, you could get that interaction, or you can get the cop that's like the happiest dude in the world, and he's like, "You enjoying your new car?" Kind of deal.
Yeah.
And like,
Uh-huh.
just it, it sucks that that's the way it is, but that is unfortunate. But that's cool that you got to have that experience, and you got to go out there, you got that invite, and it would have been even cooler to obviously see a bison get
Yeah.
taken on that hunt. But that's a cool connection to have. And so you've obviously gone down you're hunting, you're big into hunting, and you enjoy
Mhm.
that. um you know Sorry, I was just thinking of the way you approached that guy at the gas station. I was coming back from Colorado, and I had my elk in the back of my truck, and he was broken. He was quartered, but he had like the head was there. You can see the antlers. I had the head covered in a trash bag, and the gas station attendant. It was out in the middle of BFE, just on the way back, and I just was stopping for gas because it was like the last gas station for like 200 miles,
Yeah.
whatever. And I stop, and she just, I walk in, I get my drink and pay for gas, and she just looked like, again, one of those people that, blue haired, piercings everywhere, had a non-gender name, whatever. And and like, I'm just sitting there like, hey, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day. And she's like, is that an elk in the back of your truck? No, she said a deer or an elk. I don't know. It was off. And I was like, yeah, I just got back from Colorado and trying to be cool about it, and I was expecting her to like lash out at me, just the way, like, her appearance.
Yeah.
And she's like, can I pet it? And I was like,
What?
uh sure. Like, it was the weirdest thing. She was like, can I pet it? I'm like, those two words don't generally go, like dead elk and petting, but sure. Like, we walk out and I uncover the top of his head so she didn't have to see its tongue or eyes or anything. She's like, I've never touched an elk before, and like was like, talking to me about hunting and everything. I'm like, if I met you anywhere else, like,
Hmm.
I would have not even wanted to speak to you just because of your
Yeah.
appearance. And I didn't want to go down any of those rabbit holes, but you're out here petting my dead elk. Like, it was just, so
Uh,
you approaching them about their dead bison reminded me of that gas station attendant. Can
I
I
don't quite
pet your
have blue
elk?
hair, but you know what?
Right. Yeah.
Same, same.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly. Yeah. Same, but different. No, but that's really cool, and it's cool that you're putting yourself out there. You're going to things like Winter Strong. You're making these connections in the industry that, I mean, they're really good people to know, and people may look at it from maybe an outsider perspective. The outdoors industry is this big thing, but it's really not. Like,
No.
everyone knows everybody in the industry, and but it's really cool. Again, to see that you're making those connections and working with different companies, and obviously the biggest one that I've seen is the Montana Knife Company connection. But you make custom one-offs, and you've still got the clients that you do a lot of custom work for. What are some other things outside of this wallet that we're going to make now that this is for Steve? What are some other things that you make? You make wallets, you make sheaths for Montana Knife Company knives, but you've also got, like, walk us through kind of your lineup of things that you make.
Do you want to see a bag? Let me see.
Sure.
Grab this.
I don't know the way you said that, maybe. Okay.
It rubs the lotion on its skin. So, like, this is a bag that I'm working on right now. So this is
Okay.
ostrich that someone hunted
Wow.
and is having
Now,
me turn
did you
into a
dye
purse.
that? Is that, or is
Nope.
ostrich naturally black?
It was dyed from the tannery, this way.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have, contrast. Obviously it's not finished, but I do a lot of bags, stuff like that. And all hand saddle stitched.
Now I'm I've never seen an ostrich dead before. They're usually just chasing people around, or they're, being ridden by people. But
Yeah.
that's just
Normal, totally.
But yeah. Is that natural for them to have those little points in it, or is that something
Yeah.
that you've done?
No, so this is natural. And if you think about like a chicken, right? They kind of have little dots on their skin.
From where
Well, just yes, that's
what the
their
feathers
quills.
get pulled out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quills. Yep.
So these are just little quill marks.
Hmm.
It kind of feels like, for anyone wondering, I texturally, I have a thing with ostrich. I'm like, it's not like my favorite material to feel. It feels a lot like um rubbing a dog's belly when its little frog nipples are all like flat and floppy. Feels like
Okay.
that. Yep.
Hmm.
Which is why it looks like that. They look like and feel like dog nipples. Which, I know that sounds really horrible. It's actually like a very stunning,
Yeah.
thing. But
Yeah.
just texturally, if somebody was wondering, that's what that feels like.
Hmm.
I probably could have gone without saying that, but here we are. So
now, when you have a spike of sales for ostrich, those people like rubbing dog nipples.
oof, oof, rough. That is too much. Not today.
I don't know if that was meant or not, but rough. It's just.
Oh no. But
I know, right? Dad jokes all around.
Yeah.
So we got ostrich. You've got alligator. What's that? Is that like dyed alligator behind you? The orange.
Yeah. That's an American alligator.
Okay.
And what's interesting about that, I don't know if you can even see from where you're
Yeah.
at, but that's a hornback. So typically
Oh.
what happens is they cut the horns out of the back
Okay.
and they leave the belly intact. And the belly is
Okay.
an extremely valuable cut of American alligator, right? So most luxury brands are buying an alligator for the belly. You're not really
Okay.
paying for the tail. You get the
Yeah.
tail, but it's not desirable, to them. So that is the opposite. That was actually cut right up the center of the belly. And then what is left intact is the spine on the back. You see those ridges,
Mm-hmm.
and all the way up to the hornback on the head.
Mm.
Obviously that's not the natural color of an American alligator. That was dyed at the tannery, but I do often make hand dyed leather goods. And that's one of the things that I became most well known for, and kind of like my name kind of exploded over, was my color matching, because someone would send me a knife and I would use whatever the handle looked like. I would color match the alligator perfectly to it. And so that's something I super enjoy. But that's just my second favorite color, which is why it's on the wall.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yep.
And then is that an axis beside it?
Yep. Got an axis. We have a springbuck a ring
Okay.
lizard, and see here, kangaroo, tegu, where are we at? Rabbit. And then way up in the corner is a invasive Asian carp. So that is
Hmm.
a silver carp from the Mississippi River.
You can keep carp skin.
You can. So,
Hmm.
yeah, ooh.
Uh-oh.
Can't get me going on all the nerdy things that I just love.
All right, let's
So,
talk carp skin.
let's talk carp. You've seen the videos of fish jumping up in the Mississippi River and hitting boaters.
Hmm.
So those are invasive Asian carp, and there's, I want to say four. Don't quote me on that. I'm quoting myself because this is going to be published, but four species, I believe, in that river. So you have the silver, the grass, the other two I don't remember. But what we've done, I work with a company called Inversa. So we target invasive species and then we turn them into luxury leather, which
So
works
what,
in
I mean, what do you
conjunction with
do with, so if
conservation.
someone were to say, hey, I want a carp, like what do you turn a carp into? Like it just, I don't know. Did I lose you for a second?
We good?
Yes, I think you're recording. Yeah, it looks like you're recording.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I don't know what
No,
just
you're good.
happened.
You're good. So what do you
Barely
turn a
hear
carp
you.
into?
So for a carp, we'll turn them we will turn them into anything from a wallet, a purse, a sheath, an inlay into another leather project. And with those, they're a very thin and malleable skin, but they're pretty durable too. So actually, the uses for them is it's pretty diverse what I can do.
Hmm. Okay. Again, I know nothing about leather. So like do you do things with the fur along with the leather? Like you do a bunch of different stuff, obviously. You've got, I mean, so you've got bags, you've got wallets, you've got sheaths. What are some other, I mean, is there like hats, or there pants? Like what, if someone wanted to order a pair of hornback alligator pants, is that a thing? Like what?
I can certainly make it a thing.
I can imagine, like if I got into being a cowboy and I wanted some chaps, those were the chaps that I would order.
Oh, for
Hornback
sure.
alligator chaps.
Yeah, like you've seen Dumb and Dumber, the
Yeah.
suit that's that color.
Yeah.
We just make it out of alligator. you
That's
do a little bar
awesome.
pose.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh
No,
my
I make stuff pretty much. I used to have on my website, it said, if you want it, we'll make it. I have
God.
taken that off because people were getting real literal. And let me tell you what, man, I have boundaries.
They really like those
So,
ostrich skins. Okay.
yeah, oof, I wish that's all they liked. So, I've done
Okay, since we're
loafers.
going there, I was gonna make a joke about earlier
Mhm.
where you're saying that you have dreams about leather. We'll just leave that there. I can only imagine that like people I can't imagine. I can't imagine some of the stuff that they sent you. Like, hey, I want this made out of that. Like,
Oh, dude,
mm, yeah.
I've got some whack requests, like
How do you
weird,
kindly
weird
say no
stuff.
thank you to things like that? Or do you just make
How
them?
do I say no thank you?
Do you say no, or do you just like yeah, but this is a one off. Like I'm not making that anymore.
I mean, it's kind of on a case by case basis. Like, if it's just weird enough to make me uncomfortable, no. But if it's
Hmm.
so weird that I've gone past uncomfortable and now I'm intrigued, then yes. Like, there's a tipping point where I'm
All
like,
right.
that's no, no, no. Actually, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So and then I go back to your wonderful supportive husband.
yep.
How often, like when you bring, like if I had something like that, if I had a creative project or whatever, I would turn to my wife and be like, can you just read this email? Like, you know, we would just laugh about it. Obviously, that's not good for customers, right? But
Eh,
do you
I
share
mean,
some of these creative things with your husband? Like, hey, this guy or girl is asking for XYZ, and you get a good
oh, yeah,
laugh
for
about it.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Um, I will actively. That's the other thing for customers. Like, if you're a little freak, don't even worry. I got you. I'm gonna make fun of you to you. Like, I'm not just saving
Yeah.
it for, like, I will make fun of them to their face, but in a nice way because it
Hmm.
is funny. Yeah, I definitely tell Zach, and Zach has taken some of the phone calls actually. He got one where the guy asked him to make a paddle of sorts, and Zach was like, "A paddle? What do you mean a paddle? Like,
Like for a
describe it
kayak?
to me."
Tell me about this kayak paddle and how leather would work with water.
Yeah, and the guy was like, "Uh, well,
Oh man, that is
yeah."
wow. Well, guys, we're not just going to leave the podcast at that. That was, we are kind of joking around about some of the crazy orders that Francesca gets. But if you do have an order like that, her husband will gladly take the phone call and have you walk him through the specs on what exactly it is that you're needing. Oh man.
Uh,
But I
some
can't, like, again, like I said, this is probably the most leather I have on me on a
that's
regular
appalling.
basis, or even I mean, I look around, I'm like, most of the stuff in here is definitely not leather. So, um, yeah, maybe
That's a
one day when I
problem.
get, maybe one day when I get my family tartan done that my wife keeps saying she's on this kick. I don't know. I guess she really likes to watch Outlander. She married an Irishman, Scotsman, so apparently I need to get a tartan. And whatever leather pieces are on that, I might have to ask you to make those. Yeah.
I
But
got you.
so this has been great. Going back to sheaths. All right, because this is what we're here to talk about is sheaths.
Uh,
And Francesca, it honestly though, like, I've seen your work. You do a really awesome job. You take care and detail in your work. And I highly recommend, if people have a Montana Knife Company knife. I don't know how often they're in stock as far as the sheaths are concerned, but when they are available, I recommend that you go and check them out and grab one because they really are high quality. Again, I've put this thing, short of, I don't know, dunking it in the river or something like that. I've put it. I wear it every single day. I use it a lot. It's been, the knife goes in and out frequently, and it's not torn up. If I can stop focusing on my face, it holds its shape really well, and it does an awesome job. So, is there what else? Is there anything else that you wanted to highlight outside of the fact that you had to take that off your website? Um, the any request off your website. What else would you like to highlight just while we're talking about sheaths, knives, etc. that you make?
you know, moving forward, I've done a few sets of loafers and
Mm.
sneakers, like rubber soled actual Converse style sneakers. And it's something that I want to do a lot more of. Like, I
Okay.
want to make shoes. And I don't want to make just shoes. I want to make comfortable, really good looking shoes out of leather.
Okay.
And there's a
I
few
can see
people
that.
doing that, but they're all the same style and they're made from like a template that just everybody uses. So I'm making my own template, and that's something that definitely deep dive into. Yeah, the coming year is going to be a lot more stuff with that. And I don't get a lot of free time. I do a lot of cool
Mm.
stuff for, I mean, I've had the opportunity to work with some of the most interesting people I could even imagine. So that's my priority is I want to keep making cool stuff for, those people. But just for something I'm passionate about, definitely purses and shoes. Which sounds so like duh, but I don't carry a purse and I haven't made my own
Yeah.
shoes. So
Okay. All right. Well,
yeah.
and that's something, I guess you're right. I mean, I haven't owned any real leather shoes, but I could, a good church shoe or something like that. Or you're talking more tennis shoes.
I've made both. So I made a pair of hair on Western Bobcat loafers.
Okay.
So those were pretty interesting.
I bet.
Definitely fancy. Yeah. And I've also done American alligator loafers, and the inside was lined with calfskin. Or no, those were kangaroo. So, I've kind of done both, but I've done sneakers too. That's something, those ones I need to refine the design a little bit. I haven't sold any of
Mhm.
them. I make 10 of something before I send it to the public. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then I guess, so shoes. So guys, if you want her to work on some shoes, send her your order. Get some boots or
Yep.
shoes or
Yeah.
whatever,
Oh,
hair on shoes. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, that's true. No, I was going to say actually something that I do a ton of and would like to do more of is working with hides that people have hunted themselves and then they send it to me because those pieces are way more meaningful to those
Mm,
clients. They're sentimental, and usually what it ends up being like, I had one guy, he sent his alligator and wanted a set of goods made for his wife as a surprise present as she ended her cancer treatments.
wow.
Like, that to me means so much more than someone that just saw it on our website. And don't get me wrong, I love and appreciate that people go on our website and they check out it. That keeps my lights on, keeps me
Mm,
doing what I love. But when somebody says, "Hey, I hunted this alligator. I want my wife to have, a purse or a clutch or whatever from it because she just fought for her life." Like, you can't beat that.
yeah, that's amazing.
Top
That's really
tier
cool. And
experience.
it is interesting how many people. 'Cause again, I was introduced to your stuff through Montana Knife Company. Then I heard your episode with Josh on his podcast, and you're very interesting and outgoing, and I guess strong individual that has just taken this passion of yours by storm, and that's why I wanted to have you on and get to know you a little bit better. And we just happened to run into each other at Western Hunt Expo. I was like,
Yep.
and that was the funny thing too, because we were at the Seekins booth, and I'm like, I know her. I don't remember where I know her from, so it's gonna be a little awkward, but I'm gonna go talk to her because I don't like. And I mean, you have a very distinct style, like your hair and the I don't know if it's like white or gray that you've got mixed in there.
Yep.
It's just very
Got
distinct style that you have, and you definitely, yeah. Anyway, I was just like, I know her from somewhere, I can't remember where, and then yeah. So,
Yeah,
of all
that
places to
happens a
run into
lot.
people, yeah, that's a great place to run into people. But yeah. With that being said, I definitely recommend people go and check out your stuff, and
Thank you.
it's cool that you're able to touch so many different industries. You're helping out conservation as well by having those educated conversations with people, not just, again, I try and talk to people about that because as hunters and conservationists, even if you're not huge on hunting, maybe you're a trapper, whatever it may be, you have to have those. It's our responsibility to have those conversations and to not lash back out like a childish fight or a mudslinging contest when people come
Yeah.
at us, because again, most of the time those people are coming at us because of what the algorithm overlords have pushed their way, showing that we're just slaughtering animals, which, trust me, any hunter that goes out and then comes back and sees that you're supposedly slaughtering animals after you saw no animals for the entire week you were out there hunting, like, that's frustrating. And so I can see
Yes.
why hunters get upset about that. But at the same time, it's our job, just like what you were saying, to educate. And it's cool that you have those conversations and you're able to touch so many people's lives and change their minds over it. So, and at the same
Yeah.
time, have a good sense of humor. You're not just a stickler about certain things. Like, you're able to joke
No.
about the fact that one of my favorite dudes ever got killed by a stingray and put that on a leather, on a wallet, versus being upset about me making that joke.
No, it makes all the difference. And I've prioritized, like, on our website, if you go through, we have a page that says conservation on our menu. And the
Mm-hmm.
drop down, I don't even know what number we're up to now, but there's a detailed list, and each species that we work with is being added to that list. And we have
Yeah.
several at this point. And we do, like I said, our creature feature because if someone wants to buy something, they might not have a problem with it, but their family might, or their friends might, or
Mm,
whatever. Or maybe they just want to be more educated. So, I mean, I've scoured the web, and like a lot of these species, you can find little bits of information, but they're always just, they feel very incomplete on these, whatever the species is, alligator,
yeah.
ostrich, shark, stingray, whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
we've compiled all of that into a very easy read, well laid out platform on our website because, like you said, you can escalate or you can de-escalate. And I think if you educate somebody, it doesn't hurt anything.
Right.
They can do what
Yeah.
they want with it, but it doesn't hurt anything. It's free information. They can go there. They don't even have to agree with it, but it's scientific based. And it's like us using American beaver tail. In 1948, I want to say, Fish and Game was dropping beavers out of an airplane with parachutes to try and spread them back into the wild populations because the fur trade had decimated them.
Hmm.
And there's crazy things like that you learn about these species, and you're like, you know what? That's really cool. I want to learn more. And if I can make other people appreciate those animals, they don't even have to buy from me. Just
Yeah.
learn something.
Yeah. No, I love it. That's cool. That's something I didn't realize you had on the website as well. So, if you want to get some leather goods and education, head over to Teton Leather Company because Francesca will make sure you're taking care of them and that end. So, you know, I really do appreciate you hopping on and discussing kind of where you started. Again, I love seeing what I call power couples, people like yourself, where you had a dream and a passion. You put the work behind it, but also, your husband's there supporting you and taking the awkward phone calls or the good phone calls and just enjoying helping out wherever he can. And and also pursuing his career as well. And so things like that make a huge difference. And it just goes to show that there's always, in my opinion, companies that last a long time that I have seen that have lasted years that are having success and continuing to take off, no matter, again, we were talking about Instagram before this, whether they try and block you, ban you, things like that, you still are growing. It has a lot to do with a supportive spouse and a good home environment as well. And
Yeah.
I love seeing that, and that's awesome. It's awesome to hear. And I wish you all the best of luck with all the leather that you're going to be working on this year and all the cool options that you're going to be providing and the shoes that you're going to be coming out with and all of these things. So for everyone out there, again, you guys have seen, you're probably sick of seeing this sheath, but you're going to see it a lot more. This is my favorite carry. They just did another drop here with the Magna Cut. It's an awesome knife, great sheath,
Yeah, it is.
classy and functional. It's hard to beat products when you can find them that they work, but they also look good, because you want to look good and you want things to work as well. So when
Yeah.
you can combine those two, that's what you've got going. So I appreciate it, Francesca.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to leave with the people?
I think that's it.
We definitely covered a wide range of topics. So
Yes, we
I
did.
think this is
Thank
the
you for
most
having me on the podcast.
yeah, of course. Of course. I think
Yeah.
this is the most in depth, or I guess wide conversation I've had. Usually it's pretty like streamlined, and we definitely bounced around quite a bit to some topics that I never thought would come up on the podcast. So with that being said, for all your leather goods, go check out Francesca, what she's got to offer. Also, if you need help with helping, not in a rude way, but educate the people around you that maybe are a little upset about leather goods or conservation, etc., go check out her page. She's done a lot of work, obviously, to put in the information there for you. Go check that out. Thanks so much, Francesca, for being on. And like I always say, guys, get out, live your life, and love it. Hope you enjoyed that conversation with Francesca. She is an outstanding individual, obviously very hard worker. She has been traveling, she has been working, she's been doing so many things to make sure that she can provide the best quality materials, best quality end product for you, the consumer. And guys, I'm telling you, my mini speed goat absolutely loves that sheath that I've got it in. The patina that's wearing on it is fantastic. I love that setup for everyday carry. Guys, go and check out Francesca and what she does. If you're looking for a purse, maybe for your spouse, maybe if you want some new shoes, maybe you heard all the things that we discussed today in the episode, make sure you go and check that one out, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And, last but not least, just want to remind you, if you're listening to this before the end of Total Archery Challenge Utah, go and check out Win My Bow, a basically new PSE Omen blacked out with red strings and a backup set of strings. All you have to do is check out the link down below, get entered, and of course, come and join us over at First Phorm Outdoors Facebook group. I'd love to see you over there. Now let's get to your weekend and done with this show, because I know you're done, ready to turn this off. And have a fantastic rest of your day. And of course, get out, live your life, and love it. Oh, if you stuck around, guys, there's also a challenge going on right now with First Phorm. Maybe you missed, you're not able to get entered into it. That's fine. If you make a purchase during this month over at First Phorm, you get an entire 30 days free of the First Phorm app. So you can check out the app that I use for my workouts, for tracking nutrition, to get a one-on-one coach. It's not some bot. It's not some cookie cutter program. A one-on-one coach, guys, for right around $13 a month. You tell me if you can find someone who provides you training, tracking nutrition, following up with you each week for around $13 a month. If you can do that, drop a comment, send me a message. I don't think you'll be able to find that. So go make a purchase. With every purchase this month, you get 30 days free in the First Phorm app if this is your first purchase. So go and check it out, guys. Thank you so much again. See ya.